All right, we have a game 5 of this tournament, the final game of Group C of this 4th Newcomers Tournament in Offworld Training Company. This one between Alex, Blip, oh geez, it's Bees who's subbing for our other player, and Mr. X as well. Alongside me for this one, he's not particularly feeling too great, but he's still answered the call anyway. It's Philothanic.
Hey, this one's Noxie and Polina have not given us a very nice map. Everything's just a little bit spread out. There's no really obvious founding locations. Maybe there's like a robot spot except there's a nuke where Mr. X took, so he's gonna have to be very risky. Playing risky with that aluminum.
Yeah, the aluminum and the iron. He's not got a whole lot nearby, so that expansive a little bit vulnerable. Riplip going for the double carbon with no adjacency. This really needs to be adjacent, I think, although it's less vulnerable to nukes than it would have been had he taken the medium tile instead. Alex going for his, again, sort of fairly standard iron and 2 steel start. And, oh geez, it's Bees up in the northwest-hand corner.
With what I think is a misclick and expected
that is
to be a robot.
Yes.
Clicked on that
yep,
R.
Absolutely. That's very unfortunate. He does have some carbon nearby, but it's going to have to sell that steel down, and that is not the most efficient way to start as a scavenger. He's going to be quite a bit behind doing that.
Yeah, so
an expansive HQ has been upgraded.
Alex and Mr. X both getting to HQ2 first, not something you want to see as Blip, who unfortunately out of the two scavengers is probably the only one in this game at this point, unless Bees can get to HQ2 really quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bees isn't too far away from HQ. In fact, Bees is at HQ2 now. Just needs to realize that he's collecting the wrong resource and sell his steel down and buy carbon instead. So that will happen at some point, I'm sure. But in the meantime, yeah, our 2 expansive players getting a little bit of a head start. This high food price is the one I think that's going to be contested, at least in the short term. Alex going into that single farm, which is still worth it, even though it's only a single farm.
He has an extra claim. So
yeah, I'd be surprised if it didn't get a friend very, very soon indeed. Mr. X instead going for a whole bunch of single tiles, which is going to be too great. The glass in particular, I mean, that's just not going to be very profitable at all. The geotherm is going to be slightly better, but again, not making him a whole lot of money. He's going to be struggling a little bit to get to that HQ3 with the lack of income that he has.
Blip going into a second wind turbine went for a 2 carbon 1 wind turbine start, which definitely slowed his upgrade down. A unconventional start. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, oh geez, it's Bees. Going into the carbon that's next to Blip, there is a medium carbon that's closer, and I think that's really where it needed to go for oh geez, it's Bees, the one just to the southwest of his base instead. So it's going to be a long while before oh geez, it's Bees gets the carbon that he needs.
It will be. He is moving out of steel into farms, has a decent amount of water coming in. So hopefully we'll be able to power his way to HQ3 and then get teleportation, and then he somehow might have clawed his way back into this game.
Yeah, geotherm auction here. Geotherm probably not going to be all that valuable. Power on its way down. There were some early commitments into power. Riplip is actually making money from his power right now. Has those 2 wind turbines. That's going to be very nice for them, but again, power plateauing, and 18k seems an awful lot to pay for a geotherm, especially a geotherm that's such a long way away. It's going to be a while before he's able to build that. Mr. X, 18k seems a small overcommitment.
So this is our 4th nuke on the map.
Yeah, and
all the iron has been nuked out.
Yeah, all of the iron. So,
and then one more which I haven't found yet. And
actually, I think there were only 3. I think it's all of the iron. And I think that will benefit, well, it'll benefit Riplip for a start, because he doesn't use iron at all. But Alex as well has that medium iron next to his low, so not a huge problem for him to rotate when he hits HQ3 into that medium iron.
Bees doesn't really care about that iron too. It means that tile's
An
less
expansive
useful,
HQ has been upgraded.
but to getting him up to HQ4, he still needs 16k aluminum, 11k carbon. He needs to be selling down that food. Mr. X also going to start struggling with the iron really soon. His is low. He's consuming 1 iron a second from the steel, and the price of steel and the price of iron is going to meet each other very soon. Alex in the same situation.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Although he did
How could one refuse such a
get the
wonderful plot of land?
HQ3 and is moving into medium iron.
The story of this game at the moment is the aluminum situation, because
Congratulations.
there's not a whole lot of aluminum being produced. There isn't a whole lot on the map, honestly, either. There's a couple of high tiles and to the very south, but the aluminum price right now, $120, and the reason it's $120 is because only 2 of our 4 players are actually collecting any aluminum at all. So really difficult for anyone to upgrade if you don't have that resource, and now we're up to $140 per aluminum unit. So again, Riplip is getting that aluminum now. Does have it gooned as well, which seems very sensible to me. Make sure nobody's going to be nuking that one out.
Yeah, Blip has the upgrade to HQ4 if they so choose, instead deciding to rotate out of those farms into chems. Bees did get to HQ3, claimed that high aluminum, waiting for
The black market is
the
online.
construction truck to get there, and Riplip's gonna go into Bees instead of the upgrade, which
Yeah, I don't know about this. This is because Riplip has a pretty big lead, honestly, in terms of cash, and trying to turn that into a subsidiary. And honestly, OGZB is not a particularly valuable subsidiary. Not really in a position to upgrade with any speed because of that really unfortunate misclick found. And it's going to take a long time for Riplip to get the amount of money that he needs to get this by, and a very unhelpful surplus as well on those chems.
if I were Alex, I'd be buying into Blip. I don't want Blip to get this buy. I want to make Blip as uncomfortable as possible. I have 50k, so maybe I'll be able to get him to change his mind. Maybe not, but at least I'll have some stock in him.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, and yeah, that stock will appreciate in value as soon as Riplip completes this buy, which it looks like he's going to do.
Oh,
So,
Alex
credit.
upgraded instead.
I don't hate that either. I mean, upgrading to HQ4 is an expansive here. You've got plenty of money to be made if you can secure that water, which he does have pretty good water, as Riplip does complete that buy on OG's It's Bees. But Alex in a situation where he needs to do a couple of things with those claims. He needs to get back into life support, needs to get into more life support. He also needs to address his debt situation, because he's in 100k of debt now, has reached that C level of debt. And that is going to be a problem with power climbing above $150.
Yeah, he does have a geotherm going up right now, so that should help a little bit. Although it won't quite cover all of his power costs, he'll be 0.1 short. 0.3 short now that some of his buildings have come up.
Yeah, and with that, with the power situation doing what it's doing, really needs to be paying off that debt rather than just treading water at this point. Perhaps might have liked to see some solar panels instead of those 2 electrolysis reactors that came down, or maybe some solar panels instead of the glass kilns, which aren't particularly profitable anymore.
Yeah, that's probably a better play. Also, using this lone electronics factory would have been better as a lone solar panel. Make significant more. Well, to make 210 a second, and that would just go for paying off debt, which he desperately needs.
Yeah, Mr. X winning that auction that Riplip started with his auction a tile claim. Only 8,000, so Riplip not really willing to bid that up very much at all. Happy to saddle Mr. X with
Expansive
a
HQ
tile
has been
that's not
upgraded.
particularly useful. It is going to be a solar panel though, so it's not totally useless either.
Yeah. Mr. X and Alex, both HQ4. The expansive lagging a little bit behind HQ3, but does have that sub, which if the game
Yeah.
goes which provides a stock boost in the short term, if the game goes long enough, should make okay, if not decent money.
Yeah, I mean, it'll make okay money. I mean, I'm not sure it's honestly going to make a lot of money, just because G6Bs isn't really in a position to upgrade very quickly at all. Doesn't have any carbon coming in whatsoever right now. So it is just going to be the cash, and they are getting aluminum, but again, just not very much ability to make money in the long term. Needs that carbon to upgrade and doesn't have any coming in whatsoever. Having said that,
Pilots.
Riplip
I hate
is
this
getting
filthy
300 a
business.
second from this sub, and at this point in the game, we're only on Sol 4.
Scavenger HQ
That's
has been
quite a bit of
upgraded.
money. Riplip also making power money, and that's really big, because Alex and Mr. X are both now in D levels of death.
I think going for the second attempted majority buy is definitely a mistake instead of upgrading, especially because Mr. X had enough to defend himself. Watching some of these new player games, I'm not sure if players know they can hover over their opponents and see how much cash and resources they have.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
Because I've
it's a big
seen
weakness.
several highly questionable majority buy attempts, so just another thing that new players can learn. Mouse over an opponent, see that cash plus resources before attempting a majority buy. Save yourself some time. But Riplip should sell out of Mr. X and take the upgrade.
Yeah, it's certainly an upgrade that he can just get whenever he wants to. And I'm concerned about these electronics factories because they're not profitable at all. In fact, they're losing money ever so slightly with the power situation as well. And all of this is just time wasted when he really needs to be upgrading. And in the long term,
Available for option.
when you have two expansives who are level 4, even though they're in D levels of debt, even though they don't have the stock that you have in other players, they're going to be making money in the long term. Food is at $400 now, and if you can be in that market, it's extremely profitable.
Yeah, and honestly, if Mr. X and Alex just started jointly buying into Riplip right now, they would make his life very interesting. Because with their cooldowns, they actually might win the majority buy before Blip could defend himself. Because he almost has the cash. It would all just come down to cooldown timings. I don't know.
Expansive HQ
Well,
has
now
been
that Mr. X upgraded that, potential is no longer there.
Upgraded all the way to HQ5 and steel now at $250 as well. So a lot of money tied up in that steel. And yeah, Riplip just going for the kill, not interested in upgrading.
And
Just
that
going for that cheap stock.
it is cheap, but what does Riplip need? He needs 193k now to take out Alex. Once he finishes selling out of Mr. X, he's going to be 20k short.
And yeah,
But
Riplip
instead he
not
starts
quite-
buying.
Just doesn't really seem to know which way to go here. He's not actually that far away from the buy on Alex at this point.
Alex,
Instead he upgrades though. That's a weird decision.
after you spent all that time at HQ3, upgrading seems weird, especially now Alex and Mr. X must buy into Riplip.
And look at this carbon price. I mean, the electronics are completely unprofitable. He's not making any money really at all, other than his subsidiary income. And
Which is
the
400.
carbon is really good, but it's 400, which is a lot.
It is a
That's
lot,
true.
but that's not as much as if he could rotate these buildings into something a little bit more profitable. The other problem with Blip is he only has one medium water pump. He needs to get some adjacency there because water's really, really high.
Yeah, water's high, and so is everything that water makes. So, given that Mr. X, and yeah, look at Mr. X's cash, I mean, and that's mostly life support, that's mostly water and food, and actually some aluminum as well, and actually some steel as well, and actually some carbon as well, all of which are really awkward, with the exception of carbon, all of which are really awkward for Riplip to get his hands on.
Yeah, Mr.
So-
X needs to do one of two things. My preference would be for him to buy into Riplip. That would be the
Well, he can
best
he
thing
can
to
majority
do.
buy, although not right now he can't. And yeah, he does decide to do that now. Might
So
be a
put
little
some
bit late. Riplip,
pressure on Riplip like
A
this.
scavenger HQ
And
has
then-
been upgraded.
With the extra, I'd like to see him buy a little bit of OG's bees.
so this is some serious alarm bells for Riplip here, because he has a bunch of money. Even though he has the money, he has a bunch of money
Nothing
tied
stops
up
productivity
where
in
is all the
optimizations.
Magnetic
Oh
pulse.
no.
It's all in
Available for auction now.
optimizations.
Yeah.
So he has to notice.
He has to
that it's
notice
all
and
in optimization.
sell out. Otherwise, Mr. X is going to win this game with this majority
Yep.
buy.
Absolutely. This is a serious problem for Riplip. Is he going to realize that all of that money is in optimizations? He almost has the cash to defend it, so he might get away with it anyway.
Oh, it's
Gonna be
gonna
close, though.
So close. What's the
Sold.
timeout? Mr. X has 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3.
He's bought into
Two,
OG's It's Bees.
one.
He's dead. He's
No,
dead.
that was Alex buying into OG. Oh, Riplip.
No, it wasn't. It
Wow.
wasn't. It was Riplip.
That
So,
Panic?
Big mistake. Yeah, must
panic
be.
buy,
Big
misclick.
mistake. I don't know.
Oh, well,
In
it's
any
so
case,
unfortunate.
Riplip, in a really dominating position in this game, has handed it on a silver platter to our expansive player here in the north of the map, Mr. X. Gonna take this one with all of that life support income. And we mentioned that income was going to be meaningful. I mean, it really shouldn't have been, honestly. Riplip really just needed to be able to defend himself, and he probably would have won the game, but instead, it's going to be Mr. X.
Yeah, Alex unfortunately finally is at HQ5, but just doesn't have the income. He's shipping a lot. He's burning 740, 831 and counting in fuel costs just for shipping everything. 2 fuel a second, 10 freighters in the air. His debt was always a problem. I think he bought some of it, paid some of it down, but it's going to continue to be a problem.
Yeah, does have the optimization center going up, so it's going to be able to make some electrolysis or make some fuel in the long term, but right now,
Optimization center is
not
ready.
really able to at
Time
all.
start
And Mr.
improving
X, meanwhile,
everything.
getting a whole bunch of money, does have those 2 subsidiaries now, most of those 2 subsidiaries, so going to be a nice stream of income for him. Only actually needs another 100,000 or so to clean this game up
Black
completely.
market is open for business.
Could even sell out of his own stock to do it, honestly, at this point.
The pleasure
Yeah,
game is
At
completed.
any point.
Alex
I
doesn't
wonder
have
what
enough
goes on
money
in
to
there.
threaten him whatsoever, but I think Mr. X is just gonna play it safe here, not give himself any potential to trip over his own toes. I can sympathize after seeing some of the other mistakes in this game, but definitely
Yeah.
Mr. X
No, I
is
mean,
to
it's.
win.
I think it's totally the safe
This
thing to
awful
do.
market though is a mistake.
Yeah, it is.
It won't
That's,
change the
that's
outcome
a
of the game.
big overcon. Well,
Especially 'cause he
it's just
has-
very unnecessary.
He has 100% right now. He just needs to realize
Yeah.
and sell out of everything.
Yeah,
Now for
that's
auction.
100,000 that
Utility
off-world
on the
market,
building of your choice.
and going to take some time for him to make that amount of money, and certainly that off-world market will even come close to paying for itself, especially given the height of on-world prices right now, and the fact that even though off-world prices are actually pretty good,
Mhm.
680 per boot is pretty good, it's not anywhere near profitable enough to be close to worthwhile.
Yeah. Alex is going to be sitting here for a while with 100% on him. I know we have a rule for not conceding, which matters in the first 4 rounds because of seeding purposes for the last round, but this is one of the exceptions where it would be okay for Alex to concede.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely. And yeah, there we go. He's,
Mr. X
he's
gets the money
sold
anyway
everything
after
down.
selling everything down. Gets the win.
And yeah, I mean, again, unfortunate for Riplip because he played a pretty good game early on. He saw the buy on OG's It's Bees, went for the kill and got it. It was a
Floundered.
brave move to go for that. But I mean, floundered a little bit after that, but still was in a dominant position. But you just need to secure those 5 stock if anyone's anywhere near being able to threaten you, then you just need to have those 5 stock in yourself. It just becomes so important if somebody's threatening a majority buy, to realize that you can just defend yourself with a simple click of a button, and then still continue to be in a dominating position. But as it was, Mr. X able to take advantage and win this game.
Unfortunate mistakes abound. Oh Jesus Bees, who was our sub, a bit rusty at Offworld, he said, and it sort of showed by misfounding what would have been an okay robot. But
yeah, it would have been. In terms of the found overall, it was totally fine. But yeah,
the intention was good.
Wrong resource, unfortunately, and the map really punished him for it as well. Like there wasn't really any carbon nearby. There was that one tile to the southwest, but otherwise it was basically across the map, and that's too difficult to overcome. It's really unfortunate because other than the found, he actually did pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely should play in the next Newcomers Tournament, Bees.
Yep, absolutely.
Probably would do quite decently well. And then Alex just had too much debt, unfortunately, too much shipping. I think that's pretty much what did him in. Let's take a look at the charts and graphs just to double check.
Wow, 141,000 fuel purchased in that game by Mr. X, which is sold by Mr. X, and yeah, Alex bought 93,000,
and that all went into debt. He also bought
and
110 power.
110,000 power, yeah, that's a lot of power, isn't it?
Good ideas from Alex, just need to control that debt, maybe go into less shipping. 2 silicon's a little bit excessive.